Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Apologies for the lack of content over the past week and a half or so. I think my last video was a round 23 recap, so yeah, apologies for that. It's been a really hectic time here. Obviously, I have a newborn, so she's 4 weeks old now, so that takes up a lot of my time. But also last week I had a wedding on Wednesday where I was the best man for, and then had the rehearsal on Tuesday as well. So that took up a lot of time. It was a beautiful wedding, little Samoan wedding. So yeah, a lot of people, yeah, awesome atmosphere. It was electric day, but yeah, a little bit tough with a 3-week-old at that time. My missus is a trooper. She had like 12 hours by herself. She came to the wedding, but was sitting at a different table and stuff like that. But our baby was actually really chill for the wedding, which was good. Like, she didn't cry too much, by all accounts, but yeah, it was just tough for her being by herself. But my mates looked after her, which was good. And it was cool for everyone to meet her. But yeah, that took up a lot of my time, and then ended up being sick as a dog the next day, or maybe 2 days after, and then it's pretty much wiped me out all weekend. So I don't even think I watched much footy. I think I watched about 20 minutes altogether. So it just wouldn't have been much I could recap from the games, apart from like box score watching, but wouldn't have provided too much value. So I just didn't get around to doing any of that. But I'm better now for the most part. Also, there's not much to talk about like this late in the season. A lot of people are without trades. The trade targets are pretty self-explanatory. Like, you just get whatever position you need, stuff like that. Trade for injuries. But yeah, I'm back just before lockout today, just to go over my team plans, how I went last week and stuff like that. I've got a few trade targets up there, or guys of interest that I just want to talk about before the round kicks off. But yeah, last week was actually okay for me in the end. It was looking disastrous all weekend. I was down like 30, 40, 50 behind par pretty much the whole way until Scotty Drinkwater decided to finally turn up for everyone. 102 is crazy stuff, so shout out him. He is 77% owned or something similar in the top 1,000 teams, so I wasn't expecting that much of a boost like with his score, but my rank just kept climbing that game, even though he was the only one I had. I guess like not all of the 77% do play him, because he has been so up or down. So maybe he played the last game, so maybe everyone else's loop options did better, so they kept him there. But yeah, either way, it worked out for me. Really good score from him. Ended up getting 1,030. Par was 1,031, 1,035. So yeah, not too far off the mark there. Ended up moving up 19 ranks, I believe. I was 431st into 412th. So very happy with that. Everyone else was like okay, like not great. I kept Captain May for a 59. Haas was the best of the big three with 83. He was like 52% owned captain in the end, like well above the other two, which is a little bit surprising to me. Like, he did do really well the week before in not limited minutes, but not the strongest minutes either way. But he wasn't really in my considerations. It was between Terrell May and Cleary for me. Cleary had the first game of the week, I believe, against the Storm. And I do like Cleary against the bigger teams. His base is a bit stronger. He doesn't rely on try assists too much in order to get those bigger scores. And his kick meters, tackle count will be better. And he's like just more involved, I guess, because he has to be in order for them to win games. So yeah, for the most part, I do like playing him. I captained him against the Storm in round 3 for his 5 in that HIA. That didn't scare me or anything like that. I don't really believe in too much of that stuff across the season, but ended up just wanting May coming off a bye. I thought his minutes would be stronger, and they were decent. He played 70 minutes, just didn't score well. I didn't see any of that game, so I don't really know what happened, but just wasn't getting too much. I think he had 5 offloads, which is crazy, but just had a few negatives and not too much crazy stuff going on. Tigers have been good though. But yeah, like I'm not mad at that decision. Captaincy's been my worst asset all season. I just can't pick him. So yeah, 59 versus 78, 83 isn't great, but overall I went okay in the round. Surprisingly, Watson was actually like in the emergency for a lot of teams. So I guess people were scared by him playing off the bench again. So I wasn't too concerned. I didn't expect an 18. Like, I'd much rather him play 80, obviously, but if he's playing 60, 65, it's not too concerning for me. But a lot of people managed to avoid that 18, which is awesome for them, not for me. He is in my 21st man this week, but I'm not too concerned. Like I said, I think my team's just stronger, that I don't really need to play him apart from a loop option. Yeah, that was about it for the round. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, my Lockie Galvin trade has been disastrous. I didn't use his score last week either way, but I did end up gaining 27 points back from it because I got Donahue over Isaiah Katoa the week later, and Katoa scored a 34, so I got 20 points back there. Then I would have not taken Humphreys as 42. I would have played Brayley, who played in the last game, and he got a 35, so gained 7 points there. So gained 27 points back. I'm still down about 45, 50 points from the trade, and I have one less trade than I would have, but at least I clawed something back, I guess. And Brayley's back to the bench now, so I probably would have had to address that this week anyway. So yeah, not great, but it is what it is. Didn't have to use a trade last week, so I've still got 2 in the bank, which is pretty good compared to most people, I guess. Where are we? So yeah, 225 teams have 0 trades now, which is not great. But most people have 19, 20, 21 decent guys, so you still have a little bit of a buffer, but it is tough, especially if you have a few Sharkies this week and a few more guys on buys. 247 with 1 trade, and then 286 is the bulk of it with 2 trades remaining. So I sit in that camp, which I'm not too mad about. I've managed to avoid injuries the last 2 weeks or so. I think the only notable one last week was Garrick, and then Ford, who's slightly owned, is out for the season with a suspension. So yeah, I'm okay with that. Isaiah Yeo was traded out heavily, and he should be back this week, which is good for us owners still. But I actually do think I'm in for a good round. I don't have any Sharks, which is good. Good for the most part. It means I don't have any loop options, apart from Ethan King, who is always the 18th man, which always scares the living shit out of me because I don't want to use him as a loop option in case he comes on for like a HIA or something and then like destroys me. But I think I'm going to run the risk this week if one of my early loops does well. But again, I'll see how we go. But I don't have a loop option, but I've got 20 decent guys who I'm comfortable playing if I have to. My starting 13 is pretty set in stone. Obviously, if Yo's not playing, I just switch Tarpanay up there, and then I have Yo as a loop option, which works out totally fine. In that case, I might put Ethan King in for Teddy, and then maybe Looper. Drinkwater plays pretty late. I don't know, but maybe bring in a Walsh. I'm not sure. The only trade I'm really considering this week is Ethan King for Tino or Ben Hunt, which I'm not going to do. But if maybe Jamie Humphreys scores badly tonight, and then like I'm not using him as a loop, and then I probably play Drinkwater or Watson, maybe I just don't run the risk of those and just get in a Tino or Hunt. But I think it's a wasted trade at this stage. I do like them as options, and it would give me 21 strong guys out there, but it just seems unnecessary. I'd rather wait for an injury to someone 600k and above, and I can just get anyone I want to, which is totally fine. So yeah, don't think I'll be trading this week unless like we have a few mid-round injuries like before the games, like people ruled out or something like that. But yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable with my team, and I'm hoping I can make ranks this week, especially with like 225 people with no trades, and presumably a lot of them have Sharks players like AFB, Hines, Brayley, who else, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not in that camp, so I should be sweet. In terms of captaincy, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do yet. Cleary against the Raiders, I do like. Like I said, I like him in tough games. They are favourites, but it's close. I think the line's like 3.5, so I do kind of like that. They're both playing at a neutral ground in Dubbo, I think it is. So maybe he wants to put on a show there. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. Terrell May, I still like, even though he hasn't been too flash hot. And that also means his effective ownership is a little bit lower in terms of his captaincy. I think that will be below 20%. Who does he verse? Cowboys. So that's a pretty soft matchup. Should be a lot of points, which it can be good and can be bad. It will be a free-flowing game, but more time off the clock. And if he's not involved in them, that it is tough. He is like a decent try-scoring prop, but he hasn't had too many lately. Yeah, considering that heavily. And then Haas obviously will be the one who's probably the most captained after last week and the week before. He has the Knights, which on paper is an awesome matchup. I think the Knights have conceded 17 tries to props this season, which is crazy. So, I mean, that's a boost for Haas, but he's still like a 15% chance to score a try, I guess, something along those lines. So not too much of a consideration. But, I mean, he had 13 tackle breaks or something last week, so he can probably do that or get close to that sort of level against that sort of opponent this week. The Knights are just in shambles at the moment. The main concern is if the Broncos are blowing them out, Haas doesn't need to come back on. He came back on with 30 minutes left in the second half last week because they needed him when they were down. And we saw when he got his 100, it was against the Sharks when they were losing at halftime and they brought him back early. I think he had the triple stint where he had like three stints on the park effectively. So those sort of matchups he thrives in. But if they're up early, maybe he plays 30, 35 in the first half and then doesn't come on until 20 minutes left or so. And yeah, his PPM is probably going to be massive. And even in 55 minutes, he probably gets a 70 plus. But I am concerned about the minutes. It seems like a decent round to rest him if they're up heavily. So that is a concern. But with my team in a pretty strong position, maybe I do just go him because he's going to be the most highly owned captain, and I don't want to stray away from the pack when I know I should be making up ground from the rest of my team. So it's a consideration. I don't know what I'm going to do. If you had to ask me now, I'd probably say Haas first, Cleary second, May third. But I do really like the idea of May, given his ownership will be lower, and I think it's a pretty soft matchup for him. But at this stage, it will stay on Haas, but we'll see as the round goes, before lockout. I think we've got like 4 hours left or something. That's probably enough about my team. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Jamie Humphreys being out tonight. If he scores a 60 plus, I'll probably just loop him and hope that Ethan King doesn't play, doesn't come on as the 18th man or whatever. I do like Jamie Humphreys' role. I do not like Jamie Humphreys as a player anymore. I think we were all hypnotised in the first 3 weeks at how good he was, but he actually sucks watching him. He can't kick goals. Like, who was out? Bentley Harpe, was out last week. Like, he got ruled out after like 15 minutes with a concussion, who had stolen Humphreys' goal kicking. He got ruled out with a concussion. Humphreys gets the first kick from in front. Obviously, he kicks it, and then he loses it to Ashton Ward straight away. So I don't know why he's not goal kicking. He's not a great goal kicker, but I don't know why they keep putting him in for one and then not again. So he's not goal kicking. Every pass he makes is to the ground, it seems like. He's not a great halfback, but I do like the role with Cody Walker on the bench. He plays about 25, 30 minutes in the halfback role and then moves to lock. He only played 65 minutes last week. They said he had a hamstring strain or something, or just cramping because of the role he played, but he moves into that lock role where he is kicking 80% of their in-play kicking. So with his tackle count and in-play kicking, I think he should be good if he plays 80. But he'd need to get a 60 plus for me to take that score, given I've got like a Drinkwater or Watson who I can just move up there, who I think will score a 50 plus or at least close to anyway. So yeah, don't mind him, but if he's ruled out, that's great because it gives me a surefire loop and then lets me loop two of Galvin, Drinky or Watson. So either way, I'm happy as long as he doesn't score shit. That would be the worst case scenario, but we'll see what happens there. It's out of my control. We'll know after tonight anyway. He's a fun one to watch, even though he sucks just in that lock kicking role. It is fun. That's about it from my team. I have rambled on a lot there, just sort of playing catch up from the last week and a half, but yeah, moving forward, I think I'm in a strong spot. I've got heaps of money in the bank, 2 trades, decent rank, like 412 is okay. I'd say I'd be unlucky not to finish in the top 250 from here, just with the amount of teams with no trades, or one trade, and then a weaker team this week. So fingers crossed. In terms of trades, like for me and everyone, I guess, just be very mindful of round 27. Most of us have Scotty Drinkwater, so he's out on a bye. I don't think any other Cowboys are in consideration, so he's probably the only one that most people do have, but that is already a man out. The Storm almost certainly going to rest their guys, even if they're just locked into a top 2 and they can win the minor premiership. They usually don't care about that. They'll just back themselves to have the week off and then beat whoever's in third, which is probably the Doggies. Let me get off that. So I would say a lot of the Storm boys will rest in that week. I've got Ellie Katoa, but a lot of people have Harry Grant, Munster, Pappy, I don't know who else, Wishart, people like that. So yeah, you're probably missing a few boys there. The Bulldogs also, if they're locked into 3rd or 4th and they can't move up or down, I would strongly consider them as candidates to be resting, and that is concerning. I don't think they're as likely as the Storm, but we also have a lot more Bulldogs than Storm players. So if they rest Preston, Kiraz, no one has Galvin, but Preston and Kiraz most people have. So if they're resting them, you're already down to 4 or 5 guys out before injuries, and chances are if you have no trades, you're going to have a few injuries there as well. So yeah, round 27 will be make or break for a lot of teams. The Panthers, I don't think they'll rest unless they're locked in as well to a top 4 spot. But yeah, like there's a lot of moving parts in round 27. If you have a trade up your sleeve, I think it is worth keeping until then. Like for me, if I have 2 injuries and I have to play Humphreys or Galvin, who I don't want to play week to week, I will happily play them like round 25, round 26 in order to save a trade for round 27, because chances are you're not going to have 17 and you can make up a lot of ground if you have at least 1 trade in the bank. So yeah, that's just something I'm mindful of, and probably you should be if you are looking to make trades this week, especially like any sideways or luxury trades. Just keep it in the bank just for round 27, because it's always a tough one. Yeah, I do have a few trade targets. Not really trade targets, they're more just guys that are worth noting. That yeah, you should probably be considering. I've just ordered them down in price. So yeah, just interesting ones, I guess. Nothing, no buys, sells, holds, whatever like that. Just guys I want to talk about. Koloamatangi, so he's back this week. He is named to start, which is a good sign. But this run of form was when he was playing 80 or close to 80 in the prop role. And that's not going to be the case moving forward, I would highly imagine. They rushed Latrell back, which seemed weird when like their season's over and they can't really make any ground, and he was out a week later. And now they're doing the same with Koloamatangi. Like he's back 4 or 5 weeks after his injury, which is very quick. I think the quickest was 1 week, like a 4-week turnaround instead of 5. So yeah, it seems weird. He averages 63, price at 54. So that looks great value. Yeah, just be mindful. He's probably playing 50 to 60 minutes, I would imagine, over that 70-plus minute role. I don't have any data or intel to tell me that, but it would just make sense, right? Like, why would he play 80 minutes in the middle when he's not rushed back, but coming back early, and also the season's over for them? So that alone is enough to scare me off. Just wait a week. I know it's tough to say with only 3 rounds to go, but yeah, there's not much point bringing him in this week. They have a bye next week as well. So I'm shocked that he is so highly owned, not highly owned, highly picked up. Like 0.38% is very low, granted, but like all these are under 1% when they're usually 5, 6, 7%. So yeah, he's like the 7th highest, which is probably a lot of casuals and not top 1,000 teams, but yeah, just be mindful. He is a straight avoid for me, even if they didn't have a bye next week. Reece Walsh, yeah, I love this one. It might seem like a bit of a hindsight hero after he scored a 94, but I even said before that week, I think in my last video, like a week and a half ago, that I would prefer Reece Walsh over... Who the hell was it over? Who is the best winger fullback? Who's out there? Oh, Latrell, of course. Yeah. When Latrell was healthy, I said I didn't want him. I wanted Reece Walsh after those injuries to the halves, because he gets the goal kicking back from Adam Reynolds, and the in-play kicking was so strong in round 23 when they went down. Like, he kicked for 217 metres, which is slightly above where he usually does, but he's also going to be involved in so much more. His kicking was slightly down, but yeah, he did get the goal kicking as we thought. He has a really soft draw now as well, like in the Knights and Cowboys. Melbourne looks tough, but again, I think they'll be missing most of their core, assuming they're locked into a top 2 spot. So yeah, the 94 is a bit annoying as a non-owner, because it significantly raises how many people have him in their team. Like, he's going to be so heavily picked up this week by teams that have trades. And yeah, I think he's not going to score a 94 every week, but he could easily average 60 plus from here on out with the goal kicking, with these matchups. And yeah, like, I'd love to bring him in. If I had an injury this week or like last week that I needed to make a trade for, he would be the top of my list for sure, just because of his winger fullback coverage, which most of us need. I certainly do need it. If I get an injury, like Drinkwater, yeah, he was better last week, but he's still up and down. If I get one injury to my back line, like centers included, I would have to play Drinkwater week to week, so I would love to bring in Walsh. But yeah, he's one I'm going to have to wait and see until I get an injury. the money isn't concerning. I've got 300k in the bank. Most of us should have a little bit, or probably have a little bit of money in the bank. So yeah, even if he gets up to 670k, I'm still would like it. It's just best on the board for me at this stage. I don't care about price. 94 annoying, but I can't say I didn't expect him to score really well. So love Reece Walsh as an option. He would be top of my list based on position. Connor Watson, obviously no one's buying him, but just wanted to talk about it after a 28 and 18. The minutes, not great, 55 and 54. I don't actually know what he averages in like similar minutes. Let's have a look. Is there going to be any data? Nope. Awesome. He averages 44. What did he average like last year? He got a 34 and then 45s. I don't know what role he played, but I'm assuming it was hooker or lock. I do really like him as an option still. If he's averaging 44, he's probably not good enough to make your 17, but I just wouldn't be selling him based on that. Like, I don't know, like it's such a luxury one. I could easily trade him this week if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because, 44 is fine. Like it's where his price at now, which doesn't matter, but I do think he plays on the bench moving forward just because the Roosters keep winning games. He's named to start this week, but he has been the last 2 weeks. So pretty much he's going to be locked into a 55-minute role or so until something changes, which I don't think it will. Maybe against the Storm, he plays bigger minutes because they need him to, but I don't see it happening. But just use him as a loop option. I don't know if they play early or late in weeks apart from this week where they play late, but he still provides value. Like he was averaging 55 plus in 60-minute games, 70-minute games, 56. So if he ever gets back to that, you'll want him. And for the meantime, just use him as a loop option. Like there's no rush to sell him. It's such a luxury. He's not one I would even be considering trading at this stage. If you don't like him, put him down into your reserves. Tino, 540k is ridiculous. I am really interested in him just because I can go up from Ethan King to Tino and then have 21 serviceable guys, which does provide a lot of value, just not this week because I don't need one. That price point is awesome. He's not the best on the board. Like you can go the Sharks have a bye this week, so that rules out Brayley and stuff, but there's so many decent options like KPP, Harry Grant, Hudson Young, Dylan Edwards, Isaiah Katoa. Like there's so many guys available who do have some downside. Like KPP might get rested towards the end of the season since he's moving to the Tigers. Harry Grant probably misses a game. Tino week to week probably won't outscore them, but if he's going to play all 3 games at that price point, he does provide a lot of value. So I'm keen on him for sure. Does he get rested in the last round just because the Titans aren't doing anything? I don't think so because they have rushed him back. Not rushed him back. I always say rushed him back. Like they return early. I say rush back because like these teams aren't doing anything. So I don't know. It just seems weird. They were all coming back early. He is their captain, so that makes sense. I don't think he plays 70 plus minutes any games. I think he's probably locked into that 50, 60-minute role. He played 53 in his return game, which is a good sign. Any 50-plus minute games where we're laughing, I think he'll easily outscore his 40-point per game where he's priced at. And I think he's a pretty good enabler at that price point. Don't get him over the top guys, but at that price point, if you need someone, he is probably the one to get, and I'm very interested. Taylor May, about the same price point. If you need a centre, it's fine. He scored a 70. I talked after a 66-point game that he looks really good in real life and will be decent for fantasy, but it takes a lot for him to get up to those scores. Like a 66 was with a try, 2 try assists, a line break, 3 line break assists, 8 tackle breaks, a turnover tackle. Like that is a lot of stuff for a centre to do that just isn't sustainable, and his floor will be a lot lower than that. And we saw with a 40 and then a 19. Like a 40 is not bad, especially for where it's priced at, but the 19 is. And then he bounces back with a 70. So he's going to be super up and down. The draw is pretty soft. Cowboys, Titans, Canberra's a bit of a tougher one, but he does have that ability to break tackles and stuff. So not too concerned by that matchup. If you need a centre, if you need an outside back where you can move Kiraz up and then Kiraz down to wing a fullback and bring in a centre, then I think he's a decent option, but he will be rocks and diamonds probably more diamonds than rocks given that draw. And the Tigers actually look pretty decent at the moment. But yeah, it still takes a lot for him to get those bigger scores. If you want to take a risk in terms of like getting the maximum rank you can get, while also knowing that the risk is there, that you could slip down the ranks by getting him, then I think he is a good high risk, high reward play. But I'd much rather go Tino if position isn't important to you and it's just at that price point. I would absolutely rather Tino, but he is a fun one and I think he should be pretty decent in that final 3 weeks. Ben Hunt, love him. I do actually prefer him over Tino, I do believe. Maybe not prefer, but I think in the half-back position, it does offer a bit more flexibility where we're a little bit weaker. I've got Kurt Donahue, I've got Jaden Campbell who can fill in there, and then I've got a couple of scrubs here who can always go up there as well. But for the most part, most of us have Cleary, maybe Adam Dewey, I guess, Isaiah Katoa, Hines. But you probably only have 2 to 3 serviceable halves, so I think that's a bit more important than a mid at this stage where we all have 6, 7 decent ones. The kick meters were really good last week, and that was pretty much what he got last year. So he averaged 51 last year with 494 kick meters, so like 3 points worse in the game last week. But 3 try assists is high. Is it unsustainable? Yes. Is it likely that he averages 2 try assists a game? I think so. He averages 1.4 with the Dragons. The Broncos are so much better than the Dragons. They have the Knights and then the Cowboys where he'll probably get 2 or 3 try assists in both those games. And then again, the Storm, who are probably resting a lot of their guys. He has such a soft draw. He did everything for the Dragons, but he's going to have to do a lot for this Broncos team as well. Like him and Walsh will be carrying a lot of the load. So yeah, I do actually really like him as an option. I would probably bring him in over Tino if I were to make a trade this week for Ethan King, but it's close. I just don't really want another mid. And I think Ben Hunt does have that really high upside. I'm not concerned at all by this 5'8" data. Adam Reynolds did everything, like including the try assists, the kick meters as well. I would much prefer Walsh over Ben Hunt, but like they're significantly different price points. So yeah, really love Ben Hunt as an option and definitely considering it. And also I'm close to getting, like I can get Tino, but it only leaves me with about 10K. So if he scores like a 70, I can't get him next week for King, but I can for, what's his name? For Ben Hunt. And like even if Ben Hunt scores really well, I can make that trade with money in the bank. So yeah, really love Ben Hunt as an option. Jai Gray, the only concern here is that he might shift back to the bench if Latrell is back at any stage. Well, I guess just for the last game because they have a bye next week. And then if he moves back to fullback, then Jai Gray moves to the bench. In all likelihood, Latrell won't be back. If he is, he'll probably be back in centres. So Jai Gray should play those 2 games, but he does have a bye this next week. So at this stage of the season, yeah, maybe you have 20 players for next week. So you're happy getting Jai Gray, who is missing, but injuries strike so fast and we don't have the trades to get out of those sticky situations. So yeah, I would not implore you to buy any guys with a bye left, especially in the last or second last or last round. So yeah, he should be good at fullback. His data is really strong there, but just be very cautious that like he has the bye next week and he's not guaranteed to be in the starting lineup in the last round of the season, and his upside isn't even that good. Like he averaged 44 last year and then 44 this year. So yeah, at that price point, it's very good, but yeah, there's so many risks there that I just wouldn't be doing it. Billy Walters at that 366 price point, it's decent. He's played a little bit of 5'8" in his career, averaged 36, but a lot of that data is like years ago. Well, all of the data is apart from last week. Doesn't kick at all, really. Tackle count is strong because he's a hooker coming into the halfback position where we always see like out of position guys who are going into weaker tackle positions. They always seem to generate like a higher base in tackles. So yeah, I would expect that to be in the low 20s moving forward. He doesn't run too much, doesn't kick, doesn't goal kick. Ben Hunt and Walsh will be commanding a lot of the ball. I don't love it as an upside play. He'll outperform his 27-point price, but that's about all he offers. I don't love him as an option. Jonah Pezzett, I would love as an option, but Pappy is probably back this week, so he'd probably move back to fullback, well, unless he's on the bench. Munster moves back to 5'8", and then it's between Wishart or Pezzett who's starting. So if we get data, if we get an inclination tonight in the 24-hour cutoff of where they're going to be lining up, and Pezzett still is in the halfback spot, then yeah, I do love him as an option at that price point, but it's a very risky one. I'd say he plays halfback in the last round or whenever they rest their guys, but yeah, I wouldn't really want to be wasting a trade on a guy who's not guaranteed unless we get any information that he will be starting. I'm not even going to edit that out. That was just ridiculous. My bad. So last week he kicked for 641 metres, which is awesome. Can't really see that changing too much. Like 640 is a lot. And like I said, with Cleary, in those tougher games, like the kick meters are going to be stronger because the ball's going to be in play a lot more. So even if he is doing the bulk kicking, it's probably around that 450, 500 mark, but that's still awesome for a 238k guy. Tackle count was okay. The missed tackle's not great. Didn't really do too much else, but still got a 40 just off the back of those kick meters. So yeah, do love him as an option at that price point if you need a cheap enabler, but just concerned about what his role is moving forward. And then that was the last one, actually. So yeah, that's fine. In terms of like Wishart and stuff like that, again, I do like him as an option, but concerned that him and Pezzett will be splitting minutes. He wasn't even playing 80 in that halfback role. So with Pezzett being decent last week, I don't know how that changes. But yeah, the rest of the guys, like the guns, just get whoever you need, like whoever you like as a high upside guy or a stable pick or whatever position you need at the price point you need. So can't really talk too much on those guys. Like they're pretty self-explanatory at this stage. We've got a lot of data on them from the season and previous seasons. You know what they're going to be. Just get whoever you want to get and whichever guy you need. But try and save your trades if you can. If you've got a strong 18, 19, 20 this week, then yeah, absolutely save your trades. That's about it. Like Ruben Garrick, you can trade him out if you want to, but he's only like 400k now, which is crazy. So yeah, if you have a 17, just keep him. Especially the Sharks guys like AFB, Brayley, McInnes is out for the season. Hines, just keep them. Like they're out for this week, which you already knew. As long as you're not playing with 16 guys, you should be fine. And even if you play with 16, it's okay. Like if it means saving a last trade or second last trade, it doesn't tell you anymore. But I think like 95% of people played with the full 17 last week. It's going to be a lot worse this week. I'd say like 85, 90% won't have a full 17 with the Sharks buys, with more people having no trades. Maybe if you had Garrick, Ford, you're going to be okay. Like you can play with 16 this week if you need to. Don't force any trades. I do have a strong squad and I don't need to, but yeah, just save your trades. At least having one in round 26 or 27 will be super beneficial to you. Yeah, that's about it from me. Good luck this round. I'll try get some recaps over the weekend from the games. But yeah, good luck. Let us know if you are trading, if you've got any left, and we'll see you next time.